and drank a lot back then. Thunder shook the heavens and the lightning danced the sky. Like I ain't seen since can't remember when. The Oklahoma kid lay dying in a woman's wing. Just another Indian biting dust. Clouds grew dark and promised, but it didn't rain a thing. The government ain't something you can trust.
Ladies and gentlemen, men and women, miscreants and kings, curmudgeons and queens, scoundrels, rapscallions, my people. I am Mike Shaner, and this is Sedition, November 8, 2021. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Still sick, man. My brother and his family have COVID. I don't think I do. I don't know, maybe I do. It wasn't a flu. Then it turned into this long, prolonged cold that never goes away. But either way, such a deadly virus, you know. Me not knowing if I have it. I worked full day since 4:30 this morning. Fed the cows. Loaded the truck feed, unloaded the truck of feed. Updated my website. Made a bunch of sales calls. But I have this deadly virus. So, federal court temporarily blocked Joe Biden's vaccine mandates off the air. It's fun though. The LP put out a statement on it. On top of things these days, huh? Let's see what they had to say about it. You want to? What the LP had to say about it. Court blocks Biden vaccine mandate. Breaking. On Saturday, November 6th, the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals temporarily blocked the Biden administration's vaccine requirement for businesses with over 100 employees. The court placed an emergency stay on the attempt by OSHA to require masks and weekly testing for unvaccinated employees started on January 4th, citing potential grave statutory and constitutional issues. While we're excited about this ruling, we must keep this pressure on. It is still unclear whether this decision will stand. It is not unclear. And if it does, whether it will apply to all states or just those residing under the court's jurisdiction. The Biden administration is expected to appeal the ruling and has until 5 p.m. today to respond. Business owners across the country do not feel comfortable forcing medical decisions onto their employees. We must remain vigilant as the voice in American electoral politics, taking a principled stance for bodily autonomy. Good press release. LP should have been on top of this a year ago, 15 months ago. Too many bigwigs in the LP. Still want to argue or stay away from it. Nicholas Sarwark, the infamous former chair of the party, who recently lost to none of the above. I think he wanted to be treasurer of some local. Anyway, he couldn't beat no one. I'd rather have no treasurer than him. He's always justifying, passively, aggressively, justifying those mandates. He's got too much pull within the party, those on the LNC. It's a shame. I'd be glad when those guys are gone. It'll be good when those guys are gone. But anyway, it's cool. Cool that this court upheld it. I mean, this court temporarily blocked the mandates, but by January 4th, this decision will be overturned by another court. That's how it works. They find the friendly courts, and it'll work its way up. Then we'll find out just where this Supreme Court lies, they generally come down. Even this conservative court, They've already made so many ridiculous things, so many ridiculous leftist rulings. They always come down on the side of government. They always will, and it's always some sort of. It's so transparent, the theater, you know. Like it's always some last minute dramatics, like John McCain casting the vote to save Obamacare, Mitt Romney saving Obamacare. So it's some last minute flip to keep in John Roberts doing whatever, saving Obamacare. They will always expand government. They will never repeal that expansion, and the Supreme Court will always uphold the expansions. And the Supreme Court is a branch of government. They all work for the same government. People put way too much faith in that fucking court. 9 unelected black robes. The court was never meant to decide this. The court was meant to decide. It's a federal overreach. The court was meant to decide disputes between the states, basically. Alabama and Connecticut have a problem that they can't resolve. The court was meant to sort of referee that. They weren't meant to take all this shit. But it is what it is. So, man, Yellowstone last night was pretty cool. That was a weird thing. They waited. It always comes out in June, you know. It always comes out in June. This year June came and just went. No announcement, no anything. It just didn't come. It was such a weird way to do it, July. Then finally they're like, oh, we're gonna release the premiere in November. Long wait. It was worth waiting for. I liked it. I love that show. It's such a good show. There aren't a lot of good shows out right now. I love when there are some. That's a really good one. So, the vaccine mandate will be overturned and upheld and overturned and upheld many times before Biden's either in the ground or in the nursing home. He's so senile. And when don't leave it to the Supreme Court. If you work for a company that tells you you have to inject drugs, don't work for that company. That's easy for me to say, right, isn't it? It's easy for me to say, but really don't. Don't work for a company that tells you you have to take drugs. Don't justify your reason for not taking drugs. You don't need to give me a reason that you do or you don't. You don't need to give a government a reason, and you don't need to give you don't need to justify that. You don't need a religious exemption. You don't need a medical exemption. All you need is that it's your body. You own it. You can decide what to put in it. If people will stand up, it'll go away. If people lay down, it's here to stay, and it will be expanded upon. They're already expanding it. They're already paving the way to mandate the vaccine mandates on smaller employees, on small businesses. It's just a time to stop. It's just a time to stop asking other people to protect you. You have rights no matter what any government says. Your rights are natural to you, but if you don't defend them, you give them up. Nobody can take your rights away from you. No one can. But you can give them up. It's not a small deal. It's a big deal. Your liberty. How much liberty have we lost in the past 10 years, 20 years, 100 years? What will our world look like? What kind of world are your children going to grow up in? What kind of man or woman, mother or father, are they going to remember you as? As someone who is peer pressured into taking drugs? How can you ever look your kid in the eye and tell them not to be peer pressured into taking drugs? Don't be a hypocrite. If you want the vaccine, take the vaccine. It's none of my fucking business. Don't do it for money. Don't do it to go to a concert. You gotta stand for something. It's easy for me to say, I'm here. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do, and I don't care what the world says. I don't have anything to lose that way, though. That's me. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. That's who I am. Don't justify your existence. Don't try to justify your natural right to not take drugs. You don't have to. If enough people stand up and stand for something, things change. If they don't, things change in a bad way. So, but that's good news. I'm not gonna sit here and poo-poo it. It's good news. It's good news that there is a court out there that would overturn it, that would block it. So, but we can't depend on the courts. That's all I'm saying. We can't rely on the courts. The government wants you to rely on the government to stop the government. People have to rely on people to be free. Be free. Just be free. Just do that. Just fucking do that. Teach your kids to be free. There is nothing else. Once you give that up, whatever security you think you're giving them, that leaves. That dies. When you give away your freedom, the freedom to own your body, when you complete, and there is no going back from this, there is no sugarcoating this, that's what it is. When you take drugs that you don't want to take or aren't sure you want to take because the government tells you you have to, or your employer or something tells you you have to do that, you don't own your body. It's not yours. And there is no way to paint that prettier. And when you give up, when you whore yourself out, even for your children's future, you're whoring out their future. There is nothing left. Don't use the excuse, I've got to feed my family. Selling your family into slavery isn't feeding them. Might feed them today. What kind of world are you leaving for them? Don't do that. Please. I beg you. Please don't do that. Football. I'll talk about football a little bit. It's a stupid weekend of football. It was fun, wasn't it, really? Georgia's so good. It doesn't matter what happens. Georgia's just so damn good. Alabama has the worst offensive coordinator they've ever had. Worse than Nussmeier, I think. He doesn't understand there's a... I heard a lot of announcers, a lot of talking heads, a lot of people on Jocks early this morning bitching about people blaming it on the offensive and defensive coordinators. They want you to blame the kids, the players, for not making the plays. Nobody claims the kids are making the plays. That's part of the problem. It's the coach's job to make sure that they understand how to execute the plan. If the kids can't execute the plan isn't good. It doesn't matter. And the kids can't execute the plan. Luckily, LSU's offense was anemic, and Will Anderson was there. So the defense looked really good. Outside of the not being able to stop anybody from running on 4th and 1. If LSU had just lined up and ran the ball, we'd have been in trouble. But here's the thing. O'Brien doesn't understand about the rhythm of the game, of creating a rhythm, about establishing a running game. Sure, sacks and everything are included. We only had 6 yards, but even take the sacks out, we had something like 53 yards on. Brian Robinson had 13 carries for I think it was 26 yards, 29 yards, and no, 23 yards. It was less than 2 yards to carry, and a lot of that is when he chooses to run. Like he just